Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. And right now we are going to be doing some on-air airline manager jobs using our my most favorite aircraft, the Kodiak 100. Look at this beauty, I love it. I can fly this any day, anywhere. I absolutely love this plane. Well, previously I streamed the East Coast bush trip, so now it's time for the Kodiak 100. So let's go ahead, quickly set up our initial setup of the plane. Actually, before that, as always, let's go ahead and get our jobs. So right now we are in Bedford County Airport, I believe. So let's go. We'll go to our homepage and we are going to start looking for jobs. As you know, we already have one pending. If you have watched the previous stream for our on-air manager career. So our home base is LGA. So because we leveled up, we have to go there and do one of the missions, which is like a multi-leg mission. And currently we are in Bedford County, somewhere in Pennsylvania. So we are trying to go towards LGA. So all the missions that we're going to be taking is going to be going towards east. So let's go to our logistics center, put our profile for Kodiak 100, Bedford County Airport, and we'll do anywhere from 50 to 150 nautical miles with airport minimum size of 2. So let's go ahead and search up for all the missions that's available. Very few I can see. Let's see what other options. What about this one? Yeah, no, this is going west. So anything like, yeah. Well, this one's a nice one. We'll go to Baltimore. Some dangerous material. Could be chemicals or something. Let's quickly check it. Yeah, fragile industrial parts. Okay. The payment is not that good. Well, there's one more in... This will take us to actually New Jersey. I think this one's better. The payment is better. And what are we taking? Ground vehicle spares. So I think this would do better. Distance is 180 nautical miles. A little bit long. But I think we can do it pretty good. So if I take this... Okay. What about this one? So I think I'll take both of them. Because think about this. It's also 19,000 payment, which is really good. And then our cargo is not going to be too heavy either. So let me see if it's possible. We are going to go from here. No, actually, no. This is going the other way. Sorry. But we can go to Baltimore and then back there. We could do that too. Do I want to do a 2-leg? No, I think, yeah, we'll just stick with what we chose. So let's go to pending. And it's basically this mission that we're going to do. So we're carrying a total cargo of 944 pounds. Also in this it's like 10 business class. I don't even have 10 business class seats. So what about if we press on regenerate? Yeah, why didn't I do this before? Well, oh wow, it's same. It's basically the same. Okay. So I guess we need to change the configuration of our plane. We'll deal about that later once we get towards our home base. So now that we have all this, let's go to our active map. We'll prepare for departure. Before our aircraft is even turned on, it's best to do it that way. So we have total 944 pounds and I'm going to add fuel. So I'm gonna make it half a tank. Should be good. Total fuel, where is it? Yeah, so 1054 pounds of fuel we're gonna have, and cargo 944 and crew 190. So basically the crew is our pilot. Okay, now that we have all that, let's go ahead. First thing we are gonna set is payload and weight and balance, basically the weight and balance page. So let's go ahead, enter all those for our crew. One person. Instead of 170, we're gonna go 190. Okay. For our fuel, we have about, where are we? 1055. So very close to what we are supposed to have. 1054 actually. And that is perfect. Cargo 944. So cargo, let's see how I'm going to do it. So in terms of cargo shelf, I would put somewhere, let's start from row 2, right. Okay, so we're gonna put here about 100 pounds here. Let's go down here, another 100 pounds here. I'm just checking the center of gravity. Then we're gonna put another 100 pounds here. Row 1 left, we are going to put 100 pounds here. So far, how much do we have? Payload, okay, not bad. We'll put 100 pounds here. So what we're gonna do is row 1 left, we'll increase it to 180 pounds. And then we are going to increase this to about 180 pounds as well. Our center of gravity is still pretty good, 850. I decided to go this for 200. Okay, not bad. We are almost close, 944. We will increase this to about 150 and 920. So we're going to increase this to 200 pounds. So 944 is our target. 940 will do for now. This is row 2 left. Yeah, this should be good. Yeah, this looks actually good. So we have this. Our weight and balance has been taken care of. I am going to validate and go ahead. Also, I will do an in-depth tutorial of how I set up the G1000 NXIs, and I have my 2 iPads with a loop deck, mapped every knob and buttons. So you might not see my mouse move a lot, but I will definitely like speak and tell you what I'm doing and what button am I pressing and all that. We have about 0.4 minutes, so by that time let's take care of few things. My checklist. Okay, first thing, the fuel shut off. Left and right can come on. We'll lock our harnesses. Even though nobody's on our co-pilot seat, we are going to do that. Next, we are going to so the firewall shut off will be pushed in before we start the engine. And let's check here. We are good. The UTC time will be same. We are not changing anything. So we are going from reading regional destination. Yeah, okay, so we are going to reading regional in New Jersey. So we're gonna press on fly now, and then we can start tracking our aircraft. So let's go ahead. Tracking. Already we have some meter information on this side. I'll just press on flight data, and already we have our meter information here, which we don't really need to use because I trust my simulator's meter more. So we'll use the G1000 to get that. But I'll just quickly go over my checklist. So parking brake is set, electrical switches are off, circuit breakers are all in, but I have to take one out. As if you know me, I don't like the standby altitude. It just bothers me on the screen for some reason. So I'm just going to take that out. Okay, next, fuel shutoff valves both on. Firewall fuel shutoff is pushed in. Flaps are up. Nav lights can come on now. And we are gonna set the fuel and weight and fuel is already done actually. Okay, next, all the levers are idle and cut off position, as I can see on my Bravo turtle quadrant. Other than that, we can go ahead and start setting our plane. So first thing, we are going to remove this. I don't like that. Our nav light is on. I'm going to turn on the master switch and avionics bus for now. And I think we should just start the engine so that we don't drain our battery. So let's go ahead and do that. Beacon light can come on. Everything else is off. Okay, next we are gonna do a low start, as we don't have any what do you call that? We don't have any external power connected. So for that, everything is on. Yep, I think we're good to go with our engine start. So let's go ahead. First thing first, did I really forget it or what? Okay, battery voltage. So let me show you guys something real quick here. Okay, if you see over here, this is the battery voltage basically. So it has to be minimum 24. Right now we're at 25, so we're good. Next, what we're going to do is we are gonna turn on our auxiliary fuel pump. So all the way up on, we'll turn on our ignition and our starter will go to low. Once it is on low, we are going to be watching this number right here. Once the NG hits minimum 14%, our, where did it go? Our fuel condition lever will go to low idle. Once that goes to low idle, we are going to continue to watch this NG. Once that hits green, which is above 53% and is stabilized, what we are going to do is we are going to shut off our starter, our ignition will go off, and our auxiliary fuel pump is going to come in the middle position, which is standby. Then we can turn on our auxiliary bus, generator, alternator, and finally we can put our RPM all the way up. And that is basically it. That's how our engine is going to get started. So for you guys, I'm just going to keep the screen somewhere right here, and I already have my MFD on my iPad, so I can check all the values there. So without further ado, let's get started with our engine. Auxiliary fuel pump goes on, ignition goes on, and starter goes to low. Now watch that NG rising. It's already near 10%, 11, 12, 13, 14. There you go. My fuel condition lever has gone on low idle. And now I'm just going to watch the NG reaching minimum 53%. So there you go, 51, 52, and we have 53. Perfect. We can shut off our starter, ignition, auxiliary fuel pump will come to standby. Then we can turn our auxiliary bus, generator, and alternator, and our prop will go max. We have a clean engine start. It's that easy. It's honestly not that tough. So next, what we are going to do is, now that our engine is stabilizing, our propeller RPM is coming out of the yellow and will be in white shortly. Everything else is on green. So let's go ahead and start our set up our flight plan. So for that, we are going to press the flight plan button. We have it here. Now everything is done using these two knobs, so the outer knob, the inner knob, and the button. So once you click the button, it will come it will highlight the origin. So you use the inner knob to go to this empty space, and then you're going to use your outer knob for everything else. So right now we are in Kilo Hotel Mike Zulu. So we're going to go Kilo Hotel, and you can also just use your keyboard by pressing here. That's the easiest one. So Kilo Hotel and Mike Zulu. So once we get that and press the enter button, so what we have to do is right now, so it says press enter to accept, which is right here. I'm going to use my loop deck, so I'm going to press enter, and now you can see on the selected waypoint weather. So we're going to decide on what runway to take based on the weather. So according to the weather, our weather information, the wind is coming from 310 at 7 knots. So once you move the knob, 310, which is closer to 32 runway, so we are going to go ahead and select 32. Next, we're going to go to our destination, and our destination for today is Kilo Romeo Delta Golf. So we're going to go Kilo Romeo Delta and Golf. So here you go, we are reading regional. We're gonna go press enter. Once again, we'll check the weather. It is at 330 at 6 knots. Let's see the runway. So we have a lot of runway available. We are just going to choose the closest one to the wind, so which is 31. I'm gonna go ahead, choose 31. Next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna not put anything in route. I'm not creating a flight plan using any services. So simply what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to procedure. So right here, so if I press the procedure, I'm going to select procedure, so I'll press enter. And once I'm here, I have a lot of options. We chose runway 31, which has visual only. So we're gonna go ahead and select visual, and we'll do straight, so no vectoring. Once we have straight, for minimums, what I like to do is I'll set radio altimeter, which is above ground. So at around 350 feet, I am going to decide above the ground. I'm going to decide whether I'm gonna go in or not. And then we're just gonna load it until we are on air. So now that is load. We have everything right here on our map. So I'm going to hide my flight plan for now because we are gonna taxi our plane using this map. Now for the MFD we are done. Let's go to our PFD. So here right now it's in LOC1, basically our navigation. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna press on CDI until it shows GPS. So our autopilot is going to follow the GPS. One thing that I forgot is our altimeter. So we can just go back to flight plan, press the knob, go all the way up to our origin, and we can check our altimeter right here. So it's 3022. So we're done with that. We're gonna hide that page. We're gonna go back to our PFD, and wait, did I really just do that? Yeah, okay. So 3021. So we can change this into 3021. I have that mapped, so I'm just going to use my my loop deck, which I highly recommend. Loop deck really makes it very easy to map everything using SpadNext and all that. So pitot heat is off. Now it has to come on if our outside temperature is below 4. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn that on. Now that is on, and next thing that we're gonna do is set our autopilot. So we're gonna cruise. Now it's about 100 nautical miles, so we're gonna cruise at 12,000 feet. Okay, so we're gonna go about, actually we're heading towards east, so we have to do 13,000, and we're gonna go ahead 13,500. So 13,500. So that's gonna be our cruising altitude. Next, I'd like to set up my vertical speed mode, just arm it. So once we need it, we are gonna initially climb at about 1500 feet, and then we'll decide the rest. With all that set, the only thing that I have to set right now is our runway heading, for our heading, which we don't really have to do, but I like to do that in case I want to use the runway thing. So there are a lot of ways to really do it. I'm just gonna go over here, and if I press on flight, so runway 32, now it's somewhere around 32, like the runway heading is somewhere around 320 or something like that. So what I'm going to do right now is just set it to 32, or actually I'll show you once we get to the runway. We have a clean engine start, and we are done setting all of the autopilot and map and everything like that. So what I'm going to do next is I'll zoom in into the map for our taxi help, and I am going to turn on my taxi light. I'll set my flaps for takeoff, which is 2 notches, about 20 degrees, and my yaw damper is going to come on, and that is it. That is basically it. Nav is already selected and armed for our autopilot, and we are good to go. So parking brake is going to come off, and let's go ahead and line up in our runway. Needs just a little bit of power. Very careful when turning. So this is the mistake that I did in my last stream. I was turning at a speed that I was not supposed to while on the ground, and the plane almost just flipped on its side. So really don't want to do that. Also, I'll just mention this, my rudder pedals are not really that good. It's the Thrustmaster, and for some reason recently it has been acting very weird. If I don't use it for a bit, it goes crazy. So once I land, my plane goes all over the place for the first few seconds because of the rudder pedals. Like, the sensitivity is completely messed up. Once I touch it, it just completely goes on one side. Also, one more thing, if you're flying the Kodiak 100, it's one of the best planes you can fly. First of all, let me go over here. And next thing that I was gonna say is that you have to set your rudder trim before takeoff. So I'm just gonna set my rudder trim just a little bit, not too much. I don't want to overdo it. We are in the holding short point, so let's go ahead for a quick check. Our flaps are set, yaw damper is on, our rudder trim is set. Our what do we have to do next? Our auxiliary fuel pump has to come on. So landing and strobe will come on, taxi light goes off, auxiliary fuel pump will come on, and our fuel condition lever will go to high idle. Once we have all of that, we are going to line up with the runway and we are good to go. So once we take off, we have to take a right or left hand turn based on those mountains we see. And yeah, then we are gonna capture the GPS on our autopilot and we'll be good to go. So what I do for heading bug is that I line myself up with the runway and then I set my heading bug. So now that we have that, I can zoom out a little bit and we are good to go for a takeoff. Everything is set, so let's go ahead. We're gonna lift off at about 60 nautical miles, 60 to 65. We are a little bit heavy on the tail, so there you go, we are up. Rudder trim can come to 0 and our flaps can go up to 10, and once we hit 90 knots, full up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start my right turn right over around here, and my auxiliary fuel pump can come off as well. We're gonna try to climb at about 105 nautical miles. This plane is such a delight to fly, honestly, and with the G1000 avionics, oof, it makes it so crazy. For my bush trip that I'm doing right now, you can check on my YouTube and stream on Twitch. For my bush flight, I'm using the Piper Aero 3, which is a lot more like I'm not using the newer avionics. It's like GPS 1000, so very old school, and steam gauges. So that's giving me this perspective where, like, I'm just so happy that Kodiak 100 has the G1000. It really makes flying so much easier. Even though, yeah, it's fun flying Piper as well. It's very fun, which is why I literally chose it for that down the east coast bush trip of almost about 1400 nautical miles. And I'm learning that aircraft. Like I have flown the Kodiak for a while, and I had to teach myself the G1000, at least the basics that I know right now, which helps me complete flights with ease. A lot of wind from tail coming in. So once we reach close to that pink line on the MFD you see, we can turn on our autopilot, which we can do even right now. So let's turn that on. Yeah, there you go. Autopilot is set. We're climbing in at about 1000 right now. So we'll try to stay within the range of 105 nautical 105 knots in terms of speed. So I'm just going to increase my vertical speed a little bit more. With Kodiak, you always have to just keep an eye over here. Everything is on green. Our fuel quantity is good, and the speed too. So let me decrease once we're close there. All the flaps are up. Our lights are set. Auxiliary fuel pump is on standby. So we're good. I'm going to decrease my vertical speed just a little bit more, so we stay within that speed range and not drop too much. It's overcast up there. If you have any question regarding Kodiak 100, feel free to put it on the chat. If you're watching the stream or if you're watching the video after, then you can just leave a comment on my YouTube video. We'll try to climb at around 7-8 degrees right now. Right now we were at 10, so I'm just decreasing that just a little bit, and we're going to set our power once we are up for cruising. Oh, also, yeah, that setting up the weight gave us these passengers, which is like 2 passengers right back there, and there should be more cargo there, but I don't know why that's not showing up, but that is fine. So now the fun starts. So what we're gonna do is, if we go to our MFD, we can check over here. The top of descent right now is showing 38 minutes, but once we are cruising, it's gonna get the time is gonna get shorter. So this is where you can just follow your top of descent, and then we can start our VNAV that I'll show once we are close to our top of descent. So in order for VNAV to be active, you have to set altitude on the altitude selector right over here, lower than what you're cruising in. So what I normally do is I set it up for like 400 or 300 feet below my final approach fix. Once I have that, I know I have enough room to turn on the autopilot and then just do the landing manually. That's what I usually do, and then I turn on my VNAV and it just takes me down all the way down to my final approach fix. After that, I simply just take over. And one thing that you have to do is, so remember we loaded our procedure when we first set it up. So now all we have to do is go to procedure again, and we're gonna activate the approach. So once you activate the approach, our next waypoint is right here, which is about 113 nautical miles away, and we have to be at about 1000 feet. So our VNAV profile is gonna calculate that for us. Our top of descent will let us know when we should start descending down. So we are at about we are around 8,000 feet, 7,500 feet. So we will continue climbing. We're not gonna climb too steep. Trying to keep that speed around 120 as we go up. Once we reach 12,000 feet, we'll turn on our oxygen for the passengers and myself in the cockpit. Also, the G1000 NXI, all this time I thought the weather doesn't work, but it actually does. So let me quickly show you how to turn on the weather. So we'll remove the flight plan page. What you have to do is turn this knob and go to weather radar, go to mode, standby, and weather. So once we have this, let me check the range. So once we move the range, it will cover more area. So see, there's a little bit of weather right now, and this weather is, so this is the horizontal. Once you want to see the vertical one, we can go back and select the vertical, and this will show us like our cruising altitude and where the weather really is. So it seems like there isn't too much bad weather around us. It is overcast and all that, but there is no rain or snow or anything like that. So that is how you turn on your weather radar in the G1000 NXI. So let's go ahead to our navigation page and stay over here, keep our flight plan open, and our top of descent in about 25 minutes. It looks like it's beautiful out there, very fluffy clouds. So let's go outside and check. Look at how beautiful this plane is. Like, I absolutely love it so much. It looks beautiful, it flies amazing. Like, what can you say? You cannot go wrong with this plane. I really got into GA aircraft after I started flying the Kodiak 100. It really turned that switch on in me. Like, you know, you need to start flying the GA aircrafts. Because I was stuck with flying PMDG 737 and the Phoenix A320. And those flights are more like, you know, you set up everything and then you just sit and there's not, I mean, yeah, there are things to do, and like, it's really fun, don't get me wrong. It's really fun flying those. And I also like flying the CRJ series by Aerosoft. But I think flying the GA aircrafts and doing VFR flights is so much more fun. Or I think that's a personal thing. I enjoy doing VFR right now a lot more than IFR flights. So we are at 10,000 feet. So we're gonna turn off our landing lights. So let me go ahead and landing lights off. We're still trying to climb towards our cruising altitude, which is 13,500. We're flying towards the east, so we have to keep an odd number and add 500 to it. If we were flying to the west, it would be an even number and would add 500 to that. So we are almost reaching 12,000 feet, which means I'm going to turn on the oxygen, and that will stay just like that. Everything else looks good. We can turn on our fan, and I'm just going to keep it a little bit warm. 27 should be good. Okay, these are the vents that we can turn on and off. Like, it's so nice, everything is mapped out. Flying over some very fluffy clouds. We're only about 1,000 feet below our cruising altitude, and this cruise is gonna be good. It's a very, very clear sky. I'm not sure what's going on underneath these clouds, but we'll find that out once we start descending. So let me just set up a nice camera for we'll set up a nice camera for the cruise view. I'll remove it away from the screen, and yeah, you guys can enjoy this view for a bit, and I'll be back to show you more top of descent data. So right now, actually, before I leave you for a little bit, let me go to the MFD, and you can see our top of descent is in about 15 minutes, which is kind of really good. If we zoom out, we can see it's like right over here. So that would be that would be around 55 nautical miles. So that is that for now. So let's go outside. I'll put on a nice camera for you guys to enjoy the view. I think I'll leave it on this one, and I'll be back shortly. Enjoy the flight. Okay, I'm back. So we are about 10 minutes away from our top of descent, as we can see on our MFD right over here. And in this meantime, let me just praise OnAir Manager a little bit more, because I absolutely love this plugin. The carrier add-on. It has so many options and it has so many features. So apart from the beautiful map, we can see over here the data. So once we are on air, it's gonna show us data for our destination airport. So you can see temperature, winds, QNH, and all of the above information, like the cloud information. The base is at 3400 overcast. So you can find all this information from within the app. You don't really need to check the meter and all that. Also, you have another section where it shows you the flight events, and at the end of the flight you're gonna see all the data about landing, how hard the landing was, how good the overall flight was, how good the banking angle was. I really love this add-on. The more I use it, the more I fall in love with it, compared to what I was using before, the absolutely free NeoFly, which is great for what it is. It's like really good for what it is. You're not paying a penny. But the only thing that I didn't like was how cluttered it was, and sometimes it would take me to places where there was no airport. Like sometimes like on water, like that bothered me a little bit, and I was able to afford this. That's how I got it. It's not overly expensive, but it comes at a price, and it's more a subscription type thing. So coming back to OnAir Airline Manager, there are tons of options, and it's really fun to use. It's like really fun to use. So with that out of the way, let me check my before descent, or descent and before landing. What we have to do is set our altimeter. Right now our altimeter is 3021, which is same for our destination, so we don't really have to change anything. Other than that, we are gonna check our procedure, which we did earlier. It is a simple visual for runway, I believe 31. Yeah, so it's gonna go straight, and then yeah, it's gonna be pretty simple. We'll take a left hand turn and we'll be lined up with the runway. Our top of descent is 7 minutes away, so let's go ahead and set our autopilot for that. So what we need is our final approach fix is around 600 feet, 700 feet. So what I would do is I would set my autopilot to go about, what would I say, so 500. Yeah, I think I can leave it at 500. So once I set this to 500, all I have to do is, let me go down here. So right here is the VNAV button, if you can see. Yeah, so right over here, let me zoom in a little bit. So I have it mapped on my Bravo Total Quadrant and my Logitech multi-panel. So I'm just going to press that. So once I press the VNAV, over here the light turns on, and if we go to our PFD, right over here it says VPath in gray, which basically means it's armed, it's not activated. So the two states of any autopilot system is armed and activated. Armed means it's waiting for certain event that will activate this whatever mode we are trying to go. So right now the activated one is altitude, and that's set to 13,500. So one event that, or the event that actually activates our VNAV is top of descent. So the moment we're going to cross over the top of descent point, that's when our VPath will be activated. So it goes from armed to activated the moment we cross our top of descent. And after that, you can see on your MFD, it will show the TOD will change to BOD, which stands for bottom of descent. So that will tell us by what time we're gonna get to basically whatever next waypoint and altitude restriction is. So it says on straight, it will be 1031 feet. So that will be our bottom of descent. So it will tell us that in next, let's say 15 or 20 minutes, we are gonna reach our waypoint straight, and we're gonna be at 1031 feet. And so on until we reach our final approach fix or we turn off our autopilot. So that is basically the small congested guide on G1000 NXI and how the autopilot system works. Once again, when I first started learning, one mistake that I did was I was cruising, my altitude selector was on the cruising altitude, and I kept on pressing the VNAV, and I'm like, why is it not working? Well, in order for it to work, we have to select an altitude that is lower than our cruising altitude and then turn on the VNAV, so the VNAV knows where we are going. Also, if I set my, as I said, lower than selected altitude, so our selected altitude was 13,500. If I selected 13,000, my VNAV would stop once it reaches 13,000 though. So you have to be aware of that as well. I hope this makes a little bit, it makes the whole VNAV and autopilot system for G1000 NXI a little bit more clearer. And if anything, you can leave a chat or comment on the YouTube video, and I'll definitely reply to you. So with that said, we are about 5 minutes away from our top of descent, so let's go ahead and enjoy the flight a little bit more. Beautiful clouds up ahead. We know our if you want to do it really professionally, to check the meter, we can go once again to flight. We are already in flight plan, so we'll press this knob right here, and then we can use the lower dial to go down to destination. Once we go over there, here you go, our meter. So it says there are few, it's HZ, most probably hazy, and there are few clouds at 2,800 feet. There are broken clouds at 3,400 feet, and it's overcast at 7,000 feet. Rest all of that, the temperature, altitude. There are very nice videos on understanding the meter. I have very basic understanding, like I know the meter station or the airport comes first, and then the time. I think the date and the time. So that's the date, and then you have the time right here, 1754 Zulu, which is UTC time. Then you have your wind information, your visibility, and right after there it's like a lot of short forms. Like this could be hazy. I'll do a Google search and I'll let you know, but this HZ could be just hazy, and then you have the rest are like clouds. So you have few at 2,800, broken at 3,400, overcast at 7,000, and then you have your temperature, so -02, 03, -02, and then you have your altimeter, and then the rest are remarks. So it could be like slippery or something. I'm not really sure, so I'm not even gonna try to say it. But there are great videos on YouTube by a lot of great people. You guys can watch and understand the meter much better. Okay, we are about 2.5 minutes away from top of descent, and once we get there, the things that you have to keep in your mind is the power. So you don't want to overspeed. You want to descend in at about 145 to 150 knots or whatever you prefer. But keep in mind that so the plan that I use when I'm doing visual approaches, once I hit, or right before I hit the straightaway point, I put my flaps to 10, which means the speed for flaps 10 is 138 knots. So you have to be at or below 138 knots in order to put your flaps to 10 or to stay within flaps 10. After that, right before I hit our final approach fix, I put my flaps to 20, and for that the speed restriction is 120 knots. So at or below 120 knots, you can go ahead and put your flaps to 20. And then right when I cross final approach fix, that's when I put my flaps to 35, which is full flaps, and the speed restriction is 108. So I go ahead and put my speed below 108 or at 108 and put my flaps down to 35, and the rest, for a very stable approach, you can keep your speed at 80 to 85 knots, and right before your touchdown, put your power all the way down and just glide as much as you want. Also, for landing, we have to make sure auxiliary fuel pump is on and our yaw damper has to come off. So these are a few key things that you have to keep in mind, and as I go down, I'll keep talking about this as a reminder for myself as well, and you'll see how hopefully this landing is going to be good. I have a pretty decent record for landing in Kodiak 100, and hopefully my rudder pedals won't go crazy and take me out of the runway. So with all those hopes, we are about 30 seconds away from our top of descent. I will slowly start pulling back my power just when we start descending, and I'll also show you, or just keep in mind, keep an eye right over here, and you can see that the V path will go green the moment we cross over our top of descent. So we're about 10 seconds away from our top of descent. Once we start descending, you will see, as you can see, it already started. So our V path has been green and flashing, which means activated, and our speed is rising rapidly. So I'm just going to cut down power to keep it within 150 or maybe 155 initially, as we go down from 13,000 feet. And yeah, there are a lot of data to show you as well, so I'm gonna cut my power a little bit more. Let's go to our MFD, and right now, as you can see, our BOD, so our bottom of descent, which is gonna be right here, it's coming up in 10 minutes, and this is the target So 1300 feet per minute is what we're descending down right now. So let's keep an eye outside. It is beautiful. The clouds are absolutely beautiful. So we'll enjoy this descent definitely. Right now we are at about 150 knots, so I'll bring back my power just a little bit to stay right there and have a stable descent. Once we are at around 10,000 feet, our landing lights will come on and oxygen can go off. I think I will do one more mission before I end the stream, so let's see, and hopefully it will take us very close to LaGuardia. Once we get to LaGuardia, I'll have to use the OnAir Airline Manager to reconfigure our aircraft to be able to fit 10 business class passengers for our special mission. So we are at about 11,000 feet. I can go ahead and turn off my oxygen. We are going to be good, and I'll just go ahead and turn on my landing lights as well. Gotta keep an eye on the speed. We are crossing 155. We are already at 157. Just going to drag my power a little bit back. We are crossing 10,000 feet. So the higher clouds are, we're about to cross those. We know it's going to be overcast at about 7,000 feet, and other than that there's going to be broken clouds at somewhere around 4,000, 5,000 feet. And the lowest clouds there are is 2,800 scattered. Very, very dense cloud. So we're crossing at around 7,700 feet, which is overcast. Once we get below that, I can see on the corner right here, you can see tube right over here. You can see the ground below us. So we're about to cross this dense overcast clouds, and then it's gonna be hopefully a little bit better visual. Our bottom of descent is about 5.5 minutes away. We will start to slow down as we get closer, and as we discussed earlier, we want to be somewhere at around 138 knots. Not bad down there, not bad at all. As we keep on going down, it's not gonna be too bad. And as we can see in the MFD screen, like it's all green, so not too many hills. There are rivers where we're gonna go down, but not too many hills, so that's a good sign as well. We're at around 145 knots, 5 minutes away from our bottom of descent, so we are doing good in terms of speed and all that. Looks very, very pretty. Very uneventful descent for now. In other flights, it's always winds just hitting us from everywhere, even though we have a strong tailwind of 23 knots coming in at from 286 degrees, which is like right behind us. But still, we are doing pretty good so far. Hopefully, it's gonna continue being stable until we get down on the ground. One thing that I'll do is quickly get my Navigraph chart. Even though we don't need, we can use the G1000 MFD, which I absolutely love. All the enhancement and everything made it a beast. So for taxiing and everything, I don't really usually need charts when I'm flying the Kodiak. But for now, we are going to, I don't know what flight, it always loads some random flight. So we are going towards what? Kilo Romeo Delta Golf. So Kilo Romeo Delta Golf. Taxi and airport information. So there we go. We chose runway 31, which is also a longer one. That is good. So once we go there, I think what we are going to do is, because I think we're gonna do one more trip. Depending on where we stop, we're gonna take this delta and go all the way over here and park right here. So transient park, we can either park over here, or if we go a little bit further down, we'll take the Foxtrot taxiway and we're gonna park somewhere right over here. So now that we know all of that information, our speed is around 136. I'm just going to increase just a little bit and we are almost about there. 3 minutes away. The airport will be somewhere around over here, but the visibility is not looking too good as it's hazy, so that HZ does stand for hazy. But yeah, we are crossing through 2,800 feet and the winds are not too bad. It's just crosswind, that's why I believe we are moving, shaking a lot, turbulence just a little bit. So it's definitely hazy down there, and yeah, we are very close, 2.5 minutes from our bottom of descent. From there, everything will go pretty fast. We'll be set for our landing once we line up, and once everything is visually clear, I will take over and do the landing. Before the landing, I'll just use my rudder just a little bit to reset the rudder. I'm not sure what to do with the rudder pedals. I don't want to end up buying a new one, so I'll see as much as I can go with these pedals. So what right you see over here is inset map. So in this map I have set it to topo, I believe, and that gives me the color. So green means we're good. If there is any red spot, that means that mountain or obstacle is right on our course and we need to immediately gain altitude. Orange means, you know, try to stay within the altitude, don't go too low. But that's basically it. So 1.5 minutes away from our bottom of descent, we are at 140 knots, perfect speed, as we can quickly go down to 138 and get our flaps down to 10. which I'm gonna do shortly. I think I should actually pull down power and start setting up my flaps. So we're decreasing the speed. Once we go to 138, I will put down my flaps to 10. So 139, 138, flaps goes to 10. We'll start to lose speed rapidly. Also, I'll turn off my yaw damper, can go off. We're losing speed rapidly. We're about 125 knots, and we're gonna take a left-hand turn to line up with the runway. I can see the other runway, and I can see our runway light faintly as well. Very faint, but we can see it. So we have started our turn. Make sure to keep our speed in good range. I'm going to try to keep it within 120 knots, so it's not going to be a hassle to put our flaps to 20. So our plane is pretty set up. Yaw damper is off. We are setting the flaps as we go, and our speed is set to about 120 knots. Let's set up our flaps to 20. Make sure to you have to be very handsy on the power lever in this aircraft. Like once you start setting up the flaps, things will move very fast. Okay, flaps can go full. Auxiliary fuel pump can come on. Oh no, I actually turned on my ignition. Yeah, auxiliary fuel pump is on. We are at 100 knots, so we're pretty good. I think I'm gonna take over. Autopilot goes off. I'm in control, and we are heading towards our runway. So we're gonna try to be at around 80-85 knots for our final approach speed. The winds are very strong. It's almost crosswind, so ooh, not so stable approach. Gotta decrease our speed. There you go. We're about to touch down. There you go. Oof, that was a little bit hard touchdown. Okay, no. So this is what's been happening with my rudder pedals. Like even when I don't move it, it just tends to move. So we'll stop right here. Yeah, I need to do something about these rudder pedals. Okay, so we're gonna take our left turn right here, and that will set us up straight where we want to go. Auxiliary fuel pump can come off, taxi light come on, landing and strobe go off, flaps are up, and power condition, fuel condition can come to low idle, which will get us to where we want to be. Yeah, so once I land, my rudder pedals goes all crazy, left and right. I think we have to go in there. Yeah. And we're gonna park somewhere right over here, drop off our cargo, and pick up our next mission towards east. Or should I just take this taxiway and just go on the other side, near the tower? So landing checklist is, after landing checklist is completed, because landing and strobe lights are off, taxi light is on, our auxiliary fuel pump is standby, and fuel condition lever is on low idle. We'll go ahead once we find something right over there near the building. We're gonna stop there, set the parking brake, turn off the engine in order to get the mission completed in OnAir Airline Manager, and then we'll choose the next mission and head out. Okay, I think I can just park over here. I don't think anybody's gonna mind, so I'm just gonna go ahead. Parking brake set. Our RPM can come all the way down. All the lights can go off except the beacon, and then we are going to slowly. RPM is down. Can go to feather. Fuel condition lever cut off, and that is it. Beacon can go off. Generator, alternator, avionics bus can go off. Okay, there you go. We have a clean shut off, and let's go ahead over here. And you can see the mission is complete. Let's see our touchdown, 198. So it's smooth now, very smooth. The landing G was about 1.11. Well, now that the mission is complete, let's go ahead hunt for the next one. I'll keep my nav lights on, or actually just keep it off. Okay, let's go ahead to logistics center. We'll choose our Kodiak 100 and query. So 50 to 150 nautical miles is the range. We are close to so towards the east, so 130. That will take us to Atlantic City. We kind of don't want to go there. Let's see 33. Sullivan, no, we don't want to go there. Not too many favorable legs I see, so let me do something. I'll set it to around 35 to 150. That will give us much more options. Yeah, see, so many more options. So we'll choose, what is this? No, we don't want to go there. 33. I mean, yeah, we already saw this. 189. No, not going down. So we want to head right over here, but there isn't much things. What if I decrease the minimum airport size? So that basically means there might be gravel or grass runway, and you see there are a lot of them near New Jersey and New York. So how about this? What about this? Okay, so these two are in the same, which means we can take them and do them one after the other. What is this? Central Jersey Soaring. Some kind of soaring club. Okay, let's see. So this is like grass runway, literally just grass runway. I actually want to do this. Yeah, I want to do this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna choose all three of these. So there are, yeah, three of them. So we'll take this, we'll take this, and we'll take this. So we chose three of these missions. Let's go to pending. I hope we can carry all of them. We should be able to. This one's pretty good in terms of pay, and the other ones are just okay. So let's go to our live operations map. Prepare our aircraft for departure. And fuel should be good. We have a range of 554 nautical miles. And in terms of, we are taking beverages, so we do have to do a smooth landing. And one passenger. So let's go ahead, get the passengers, get them, and we are good with the weight. So it's going to take us about 0.9 minutes, and in that meantime, let's go to our MFD. So to remove the current flight plan, we're going to go to menu and delete flight plan and press enter. So that is done. Let's go ahead, origin. Origin is Kilo Romeo Delta Golf. So Kilo Romeo Delta and Golf. So we have that. We know the winds are 350, which gives us runway 36 now. So we're gonna go ahead, take runway 36, and destination we know is 9 November 1. I think that's what it was. Yep, 9 November 1. So we'll get that 9, and we'll go November and 1. So it's 40 nautical miles away. Good. Though there is no wind information or anything, which makes it very gnarly. So we will choose 07 for now, and we'll press enter. Let's see if there's any procedure. I mean, there shouldn't be anything crazy. It's just gonna be visual 07. So we're gonna go ahead and take visual 07 straight. We already have radio minimum set. Obstacle clearance is not provided, and that's fine. So we're gonna go straight from there, and yeah, it should be a, but we do have to be very careful though. We do have to be very careful in terms of landing. We do have to be very careful. It's a 40 nautical miles, so let's go ahead, set up our altitude to about 6,500, and our vertical speed initially we're gonna climb at about 1,500 as discussed. Our CDI and all of that is set, and we are ready with this as well. So fly now, and we'll start tracking, and this starts our next mission. I think once we get up over here, I hope we get something from nearby weather station. So once we start tracking, we'll see that. It's a 40 nautical miles hop, so I don't want to climb too high. 6,500 won't do actually, so we're gonna do 5,500. Just realized we are going towards east. Okay, so time to start our engine. Nav lights can come on, beacon lights can come on, flaps are all the way up. Okay, let's go ahead and turn on our engine. So auxiliary fuel pump comes on, ignition comes on, and starter can go to low. We're gonna monitor our NG. Once it reaches 14%, our fuel condition will go to low idle, which it did. Now all we have to do is watch for our NG to reach minimum 53%, and we are going to turn off our starter ignition and turn on all the generators, alternators, and everything. 52 and 53 stabilized, so let's go ahead, turn off these. Standby, auxiliary fuel pump can go to standby, avionics bus on, alternator generator on, RPM max, and we have a good start. So with all that done, let's set up our flaps to 20 degrees for takeoff. What is next? We're pretty good. Yaw damper can come on, taxi light can come on, and we're good. So parking brake goes off, and we are headed towards runway 36, which is straight down, so that's not gonna be too bad. So if we see over here, we're gonna take a right turn here, and we are at the runway. Hopefully the weather is not too bad, because of what we chose. The 9 November 1 is a grass field. It's basically a soaring, so I think glider, yeah, it's kind of like airport from where you go for gliding or something like that. And I'll see you once we get close to the runway. Okay, sorry about that. I had to be on a call. And now, so what I did was our fuel condition level went high, auxiliary fuel pump is on, and we're good for go. So everything is up. So let's go ahead. A lot of right rudder needed. I didn't trim it, so we are good to go up. So we're up. Flaps can go up to 10. And once we get close to 90, flaps all up, auxiliary fuel pump is off. Oh, that's what I forgot, landing and strobe lights. That's definitely gonna cut some points from OnAir Manager because they do check all of that. Just making the turn. Once we are pretty lined up, I can turn on the autopilot. Yeah, this should be good. So autopilot goes on, and we are on our course to the next destination where we're taking 3 jobs basically. So we took 3 jobs, and because all of them were in the same destination, and that gets us closer to our final destination of LaGuardia. We'll be cruising at around 5,500 feet, so not too high. And if we go on our MFD, our top of descent right now shows 70 minutes, but I feel like we'll be about, what, 10 minutes away? 10 or less than 10. But we have to be very careful. If my rudder does end up acting very bad once we land, it could be tragic for us. So a lot of pressure on me, I feel like, but we'll be good. So yeah, no meter available even on OnAir Manager. I think we'll have to just make a decision once we get there on how we feel and where the winds are coming from. You know what? I think we can also do a 3,500 actually. So yeah, let's do a 3,500, a very like low VFR flight. So 3,500 should be good for our cruising. Because the visibility is also not too good, and we chose a runway that might be, you know, a little bit tough to land on, no meter available or anything. So the closest one, the closest airport that is basically our, actually that's not close, that's pretty far too. So the alternative, or yeah, the alternative airport is pretty far, and the winds are at 360 over there. I think we should be good. Yeah, we should be good. As long as there is no tailwind, much tailwind, we should be good. Cruising at about almost 160, and yeah, so 9 minutes from top of descent, which is, so final approach fix is at 766 feet. So I will set my altitude selector to read 500. Okay, another call, and I'm back. Sorry about that. But as of now, we are around 5.5 minutes away from top of descent. Our altitude selector is set, and our VNAV is set as well. So you can see VPath is armed over here. Radio altimeter tells us we are around 2,500 feet above the ground. Very hazy out here, and it just doesn't look too good because as we go forward, the clouds are getting denser and the visibility is going to be very low. So I am not sure how good it's going to be, but at least I have the visual procedure set on my MFD, so it is going to line me up with the runway. And this will be definitely our last leg for today for our on-air airline manager. We're cruising at around 130 knots. So there's tailwind, which once we take a turn, hopefully is going to turn into crosswind. Yeah, it is definitely gonna turn into crosswind. And as per our last flight, once we get from our top of descent to the first waypoint, will be configured with flaps 10. Our yaw damper can come off. After that, before we hit final approach fix, we'll put our flaps to 20, and I think that's when I'll put my yaw damper off and my auxiliary fuel pump can come on. And then once we cross final approach fix, our flaps will be set for landing at 35 degrees. And yeah, we should have a good landing with the auxiliary fuel pump on. Currently cruising at around 150 knots. Should be there in 3 minutes. The weather is not favorable for VFR flight. Also, we gotta remember that some of the stuff that we're carrying is very sensitive. So we don't have an option to have a hard landing. We gotta keep it smooth or very smooth. So we'll try to do a short landing. If the trees allow us, we'll try to do as short as possible so we have more room to make a softer landing and go slower. In 2 minutes, we are starting our descent. So we're around 30 seconds away from our top of descent. Once we get there, we are going to start our descent, and I'll just cut down on my power a little bit before we get there. We'll try to stay around 140 knots, and we'll be back shortly. So our descent has started, so I'll cut down my power a little bit more. We'll try to stay within 138 knots this time before we get down to our first waypoint. Okay, seat is perfectly set. I'll quickly do a wiggle on my rudder pedals to make sure that that's good, and also it's raining, damn. All these things, and I chose a runway that I can't even properly see. We'll get to our bottom of descent in about 3 minutes as well. So there's rain, low visibility, completely overcast clouds, and a grass runway. Perfect combination for disaster. Seems like it's clearing up as we go down, and we are within 138 knots, so that is good too. So winds are coming from cross. I believe we're going to be landing with a crosswind coming from left. We're about to put our flaps to 10 once we get through this next waypoint. So our speed is set below 138, flaps can go to 10. Altimeter, I'm not sure, so I'll just press my B key and that will set it up for me. Okay, for some reason the VNAV didn't capture. Wow. Okay, I guess we gotta turn off our autopilot. What a day. I think it's because I didn't activate that, so that's actually my mistake, not the autopilot. So I guess we also gotta line up with the runway by ourselves.
Wind 340 at 7 knots.
Okay. I can't even see where the runway is. But this is gonna be very interesting. I'll put my flaps down to 20 degrees. Rapidly, speed decreasing. I think I have an idea where the runway is, right over there, the white dots. Our yaw damper can come off. I'll just try to land somewhere on the grass over there. And our flaps can come full, auxiliary fuel pump can come on. Yeah, I think that grass strip right over there is where I'm going to land. and it's very uphill. So
Landing time.
okay, that was a very hard landing. And we went through a car as well. I think this was where we were supposed to land. That we didn't. Okay, that was very crazy. I think everything has broken. Yeah, most probably the landing was super hard, and I think this was the runway, not the above. Damn, I was so close, but that is fine. We will turn our taxi light on landing and strobe can go off. Auxiliary fuel pump. All our flaps up. Power condition lever can go to low idle, and I think we'll just stop over here. Honestly, at this point. So taxi light off, nav light off, feather, RPM, and our fuel condition lever cut off.
The flight is finished.
The flight is finished. I'm just scared to see all the data. Okay, the landing was hard. That's what we know. 300 feet per minute. So that is not good. Other than that, I think we all did pretty well, yeah. I mean, nothing got broken, I feel like. Even after that landing, we got lucky. So yeah, this is it for this whole fiasco that we went through. We completed all 3 of our missions. Yeah, so that is good. I think I'm done with this flight and streaming, so I'll see you in the next one. I hope you guys enjoyed, and make sure to subscribe, follow on Twitch, subscribe on YouTube, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day.